Good evening, everyone. We would like to welcome Mexico Open at Vidanta winner, Jake Knapp, to the Media Center. Jake, first of all, congratulations on your first PGA Tour victory. We'll start off with some comments, what it's like to get that first win.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't think, like we were just talking about, I don't think it's fully sunk in yet, simply because I haven't looked at the schedule and all the events that I'm into now. Obviously, I know the Masters and everything like that, but yeah, it feels pretty amazing.
And sleeping on a 4-shot lead, what was it like last night and entering on number 1 tee today?
Yeah, I was super calm last night, eating dinner and hanging out, and you know, going to bed wasn't an issue. And then I kind of woke up early out of nowhere at like 5:30, and was tough going back to sleep. I was, you know, more so just excited to get this day going, and not that I wanted it to be over with, but it was one of those where I was excited to get it going. I wanted to get into the moment, but did a good job of kind of laying there for an hour or so and getting a few more hours of sleep.
And probably not the start you wanted for the round today, but what was kind of game plan with your caddy and kind of turning that over?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those where we kind of tried to not leaderboard watch and just focus on my game. We knew the course was set up a little bit tougher today. There weren't going to be any super crazy low scores, especially on the back nine. So just kind of felt like it was one of those, if I could have a lead going into the back nine, that if I just kind of make a bunch of pars and force guys to make birdies, it's going to be tough. And if they do, good on them. But yeah, after that start wasn't super ideal, and we just said, you know, it's kind of the 3 worst holes I could have played, and we still have a 2-shot lead, and we got a free tee shot right here. So let's just get this swing out of the way, make some pars, give ourselves some birdie chances, and we'll be just fine.
Are you someone who typically leaderboard watches during rounds?
100% the entire time, because, you know, I mean, you think about Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, it's not like they don't look at the score with a minute to go. So it kind of gives you a good idea of how the course is playing. If I would have seen a bunch of the guys at 12 get to 17 under through 9 holes, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, the course is very gettable, but I felt a lot of them were at 12, 13, 14 and not really moving. So, you know, it was windy and it was playing tough. Pins were in tough spots. So I kind of, once we got to like 14, I looked at the leaderboard and I was like, okay, it's a 2-man race, and I just got to focus on kind of what he does and just kind of played it basically as match play from there.
What were the feelings on 18T with the lead with 1 hole to go?
You know, walking off 17, I told Mike, you know, let's have a conversation, because I know that there's some guys that play it left of that fairway into the opposite hole, and I was like, let's have a conversation, even though I've never done it, never seen it in the practice round or anything like that. I'm like, the only place you can't go is out of bounds right. So, but I hadn't driven it that well all day, and felt like, if anything, I was either missing it left or kind of overcutting, so I had a bit of a 2-way miss going, and I was like, let's just aim just left of the bunker, hit our fade. If it goes in the bunker, fine. If I overcut it, it's in the fairway, and he said he loved it. So, yeah, just trusted our game plan, and went about business.
It was a young final pairing, just your 9th PGA Tour start and Sammy's 11th, first time playing together. What was it kind of like, especially as you guys were going back and forth down the stretch?
He was awesome. I mean, super, super nice kid. We had a good conversation on like number 5, just kind of talking hockey, and kind of talked off and on. Twosomes, it's kind of tough. I feel like you're just kind of trying to move all day. But super nice kid, very fun to play with, very good player. And like we talked about it after, it was very fun. You know, it was a fun last group. He's a nice kid, and we had good conversation, and it's just gonna be a matter of time before he wins out here, because he's a very good ball striker, and once he gets that putter going, he'll be just fine.
A contrast of yesterday, you're playing with the home country favorite. What was it like today as playing with the lead, with the crowds?
Yeah, it was definitely different. There was a lot more cheers for me, which was kind of fun. But no, I mean, I just saw Ortiz a second ago, and I mean, he's awesome, super, super nice kid. I wish him all the best on the Korn Ferry this year. He's a very good player in his own right. But today was great. I mean, the galleries were very fun. I mean, obviously I didn't give them a ton to cheer for, but when I did, they did a good job of giving it to me.
On the West Coast swing, but not as accessible for family and friends to come out, but your girlfriend McKenna was able to fly out. When did you kind of find out she was going to be able to make it here for the final round?
I jokingly told her at the beginning of the week that if I have a 3-shot lead, I think I said it on Tuesday, I was like, if I have a 3-shot lead going into Sunday, you're flying down. for Sunday to watch, and she was like, no, I'll get my own flight. And then sure enough, last night she had a big smile on her face, and we were FaceTiming, and I was like, what are you so giddy about? And she showed me her phone and showed that she had a flight getting in at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock. And that was pretty cool to be able to have her down here. I know my family was all over at my parents' house watching and doing a little watch party there. But yeah, being able to have her here, and even just having Mike, because Mike, my caddy's been a friend of mine for the last 5 or 6 years. So having him here was very special as well.
And yesterday you shared the significance with your tattoo and the meaning behind it. Was that something you kind of allowed yourself to reflect on last night or even today during the final putt of your grandpa?
Yeah, I had a little kind of conversation with him this morning, and just talked about the day and wish he could be here to watch it and experience all of it. And I know he's one of those guys that if I ever kind of got down on myself, or if I ever got nervous or started doing something bad, he's the kind that would just kind of whack me on the back of the head and be like, come on, get to work. So yeah, there was definitely a little bit of that today, just kind of, even though I didn't have my best stuff, just kind of doing it for him and everybody else who's been a part of my team and my family and everything for so long. 29 years old and first win, there's a lot of people who helped me along my way. So keeping them in the back of my mind and just no quit, no surrender, and just grind it out.
What do you think his comments would be on capturing your first PGA Tour win?
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's his go-to. So I know he'd shoot me a text with that, and he'd probably say cigars on me when I get home.
One more for me before we open up to the media. Haven't given you much chance to think, but now you have way more flexibility with your schedule and to all the signature events and Masters. So what's the importance of that now for the rest of the season?
Pretty surreal, to be honest. We talked about it at the beginning of the year with the Farmers, with what happened at Farmers, and basically barely getting into waste management, and then and not being into AT&T, and then not being into Riviera, and it was just like, man, it's gonna be really tough to play into these signature events unless you win. And everybody wants to win out here. There's a lot of guys who played out here for a long time who have never won, and it's just one of those things where now all of a sudden there's a lot of doors open. The Masters part hasn't even begun to sunk in yet. I mean, that's going to be surreal, stepping on the grounds there. But Mike and I just keep talking about it. It's like, just keep putting in good work, keep putting ourselves in positions at these tournaments, and put our head down, go to work, and good things are going to happen. And sure enough, this week it worked out.
Perfect. With that, we'll open up. If you guys have a question, raise your hand, and Ramon will get a microphone over to you.
Yeah.
Hi, can you tell us a little bit about the vibe of this whole week being here at Vidanta at the resort? Does it feel any different from other tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, considering my last event was waste management, it's definitely a very different feel. My caddy and I were talking, and it was like, man, if we can control our emotions in an event like that, where everything's just crazy the entire time, we're going to be okay. So, but it was awesome. I mean, this entire week, I feel like everybody was just in love with this event and everything at this resort, and everything going on, and you could just feel that with the galleries and everything else. Even the guys I played with in the Pro-Am, just very passionate about it. So, yeah, it was a very, very unique event for me, and I'm excited to come back.
Jake, Jose Villalba from Multimedios and Millennium. Talk about the important parts of the round for you, which you think was the key shots or holes that ultimately won for you. And also, the last couple of years, this is your rookie year at the PGA Tour. A lot has been made about you working as a guard in a nightclub. Talk about all the roller coasters that land you now as a PGA Tour winner.
Yeah, some key shots today. I would say, I mean, just honestly, all the chipping today. I mean, like I had to chip a lot coming down the stretch. And we talked about that last night. We knew that maybe if the ball striking was off, our short game is going to have to be a little bit more dialed in. And so I feel like a lot of those chips coming down the stretch, I felt like I hit a good shot on number 12, kind of, just didn't hit a great putt, and then a good chip on 13, 14, 16, 17. So yeah, I think all those played a big role. And then in terms of the roller coaster of my career, I mean, yeah, I jokingly talk about it with Mike and my family, and when I have all these people ask me for autographs and pictures and questions and podcasts and all that stuff, it's like, it's hilarious to think 2 years ago I was working security at a bar, and you know, it was a much different scenario in my life. So I'm very appreciative of being out here, being able to play golf professionally, and just this entire atmosphere. I mean, it's what I practice and work for every single day.
Hi, congratulations, first of all, Jake.
Thank you.
This is Holding One Radio for Grupo Imagen, North, Northeastern, and Central Mexico. If it didn't have a name before this weekend, thanks to you, we could have named it Moving Day on Saturday. 11 holes, 9 birdies. Can you describe to us how that Saturday came about and what did you feel at the end?
Yeah, you know, it was one of those days where I was just, it felt very similar. I mean, Friday I felt like I hit the ball very, very well, and I just didn't make a lot of putts. Most of my birdies, I either, you know, on 15 and 16, I hit it to 3 inches and 4 inches on those holes, and then, and that was on Friday, and then, you know, Saturday came out and ball striking was very much the same. Hit a great wedge shot into the first hole and the second hole, and a good one into the third hole as well. So it was kind of one of those days where it's like you just get out of your own way. You know you're swinging it well. Go through your process. You know, don't think in the future too much about what the round can be. And made a few bogeys, but did a good job of bouncing back when I did with a couple birdies. And yeah, I mean, obviously get me to that position going into Sunday. You don't want to get comfortable with any lead out here because anything can happen. So yeah, Saturday was a big day.
Hello, congratulations. Many times the feats are seen like the moment to work on correcting mistakes. In this case, what must be learned with a win?
What will I learn from a win? I mean, today, yeah, all experiences, obviously good and bad, you can kind of learn from. I think today learned a lot about my tendencies when I get under pressure like that. I feel like a lot of my misses were kind of the same, and I probably should have given myself a little bit more time to warm up this morning. I feel like I probably was rushing through a little bit, so I think next time around, just get to the course a little bit earlier, get to the range a little bit earlier, give myself time, don't feel like I'm rushing, because the entire day you need to be working on lowering your heart rate, not raising it.
Thanks. Jake, Rodrigo Tovar from Fox Sports Mexico. In which place of your top 10 or top 5 do you put this whole experience in Mexico, and why?
This is number one experience for me. I'll never forget this. I mean, for the rest of my life, this will be my first win on the PGA Tour. Whether it's my first one and only one that I ever have, or it's the first of many, this will always be one that I'll remember. And it's just a very special place. I mean, it's a beautiful golf course. One of the best driving ranges in terms of how it's manicured that I've ever seen. So, yeah, and then the resort, everything, just how well the hospitality is everywhere is pretty amazing here. So I'll remember all of it.
Hey, Jake. Congratulations. Kind of off topic here. We're wondering, on your player bio, you talked about getting a ball from Steve Williams from Tiger's 9 and 8 match back in the day. Can you talk about that day, what you remember, and what that was like for you? Yeah.
When I was a kid, there really aren't many PGA Tour events around Orange County where I'm from, Costa Mesa. But one of the ones was the WGC match play at La Costa. It's about an hour from my house. So my dad took my brother and I there when we were a kid, and I was just hounding Stevie all day to give me a ball, and he kept on telling me after the round. And then Tiger finally closed out Stephen Ames 9 and 8 in the 10th hole. And I was kind of standing back by the 10th tee. They walked right by, and I asked them for a ball, and neither of them really did anything. They walked into the locker room, and I was like, dang, like, there they go. And then 10 seconds later, Stevie walked out, and it was just like, you know, hey, kid, tossed me his ball, and it's pretty awesome. It's the only really the only piece of sports memorabilia that I have that I really cherish. It's just still got it in the same little plastic case sitting on my shelf at home.
And final few from me. Are you someone who is a goal setter? What goals did you kind of have coming into the season? And will you kind of have to reassess after capturing your first win and your 9th start?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, I've kind of shifted everything internal for me. You know, I just want to feel like I get the most out of every day, every tournament. And, you know, we kind of, Mike and I talked about it, or I talked about it with like my coach and everything. It's like, I just want to keep my card this year. You know, I just want to keep it, and I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to finish top 50, top 30 or anything. Just give myself an opportunity to do those things. But, you know, and even now it's like, I would love to win a lot more times for sure. But I'm just going to keep on working hard and trust the fact that the good things will take care of themselves.
Any other questions? With that, we will wrap things up. Jake, again, congratulations on getting your first PGA Tour victory.
Thank you. Thank you all you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.